Welcome back and welcome to The Current Reads. Every other Wednesday, we pick a different library to see what people are reading. And so far, we've been to 16 different libraries. This week, for our 17th stop, we're staying in Illinois and headed up north to Rock Falls. Steps were first taken to give Rock Falls a library back in the 1930s. Now, the current building was opened 25 years ago this month. And get this, since the library opened, it has only had 4 librarians. And it's that kind of history that is the subject of our books today, because we're talking about biographies and memoirs. So joining us now is Rock Falls librarian Amy Lego. Amy, thank you so much for being with us. You picked 3 biographies that people are loving right now. So let's start with the one all about some rock and roll. Tell me about Brothers.
So Brothers is the story of the band Van Halen. It is written by Alex, kind of a tribute to his brother, Eddie. And the boys grew up in Amsterdam, which I didn't know. They moved to Pasadena, California in the 1960s. Their dad was a jazz musician, so he really encouraged them to explore the music arts. So they went through their school days. They played a lot of different instruments, and they kind of settled on ones that they really enjoyed. And then the band was formed. It started out with 3 members. They just really had a good time. So the rest of the book talks about the days in the back of a tour bus, the partying days, the days in a tiny house, their parents, their work ethics, and all the things that went along with their fame.
I think what's really interesting about this one is, of course, this was written after Ed had died in 2020, and his brother wrote this book kind of as he was going through his grief. So you almost get to watch his process of processing his brother's death and telling their story for the first time. But your second book isn't about music; it's about a TV sitcom star from the 90s. Tell me about Growing Up Urkel.
Yes, everybody loved Urkel. So this is the story of Jaleel White, and he auditioned for the role of Urkel when he was 12. So even though on the show he kind of appeared a little bit younger, he was actually 12. So this kind of launched him into his TV fame. His role was only supposed to be 1 episode, but after he filmed that episode, they liked him so much, they kept him on the show as his socially awkward genius character with the suspenders, who of course was madly in love with his neighbor, Laura. So from there, the book talks about his career on the show, and then kind of how he wanted to move beyond the character of Urkel. So everywhere he went, even when he was 15, 16 years old, everyone only knew him as Urkel, and they only wanted to see him as Urkel and not Jaleel White. So that kind of bothered him a little bit. He wanted to bust out of that role a little bit. So fast forward 9 years, he's in college. He's trying to find himself, do some new things. He also really kept a clean image when he was playing the role of Urkel. So he didn't have much experience with dating or girls. So this kind of became really awkward for him.
Yes, certainly a very transformative time in his life. And that's kind of the subject of your third book as well. You talk about this book is about an NBA star. Tell me about Above the Noise.
Above the Noise is DeMar DeRozan's story. He grew up in Compton, California, which is outside Los Angeles, kind of a gang-ridden community. He was very poor as a young child. His father was his biggest cheerleader. He took him to all kinds of gyms, all kinds of tournaments to try to keep him out of trouble, keep him playing basketball, because he knew he was a really good basketball player. So he played 1 year of college at USC, and then he was drafted to the Toronto Raptors. He became a real fan favorite there and played there for several years. All of a sudden, he gets traded out of the blue, and he was very upset. So he sent out a tweet that said, "This depression gets the best of you." He went to sleep, woke up in the morning, had a lot of texts. "Hey man, are you okay? What's going on?" So the rest of the story is about his mental health and how he brought awareness to the NBA.
I love it. And really quickly, besides the books, you got a lot of events coming up at the Rock Falls Public Library. Tell me about the family night happening next month.
Family night, we will have a Spider-Man character and Marshall from Paw Patrol. So anyone can drop in during the evening between 5 and 6:30, take a picture with the characters, make a craft, enjoy the library.
And there's all sorts of things that you guys can check out on the Rock Falls Public Library's calendar events page. We've got it all linked for you though. Amy, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing these stories with us.
Thank you.
For you guys at home, to check out any of the books we talked about today, head over to WQAD.com and click on the As Seen on TV tab.